In 1913, Alice Paul organized a NAWSA suffrage rally where she initially planned to exclude black suffragists and later relegated them to the back of the parade in order to curry favor with Southern white women. However, Terrell and Ida B fought to integrate the march. Terrell marched with the delegation from New York City, while the Delta Sigma Theta sorority women of Howard University, whom Terrell mentored, marched with the other college women. Active in the Republican Party, she was appointed Director of Work among Colored Women of the East by the Republican National Committee for Warren G. Harding's 1920 presidential campaign during the first election in which American women won the right to vote. The Southern states from 1890 to 1908 passed voter registration and election laws that disenfranchised African Americans of their right to vote. These restrictions were not fully overturned until after congressional passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Historians have generally emphasized Terrell's role as a community leader and civil rights and women's rights activist during the Progressive era. She learned about women's rights while at Oberlin, where she became familiar with Susan B. Anthony's activism. She also had a prolific career as a journalist. She identified as a writer. In the 1880s and 1890s, she sometimes used the pen name Euphemia Kirk to publish in both the black and white press promoting the African American Women's Club movement. She wrote for a variety of newspapers, published either by or in the interest of colored people, such as the AME Church Review of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the Southern Workman of Hampton, Virginia, the Indianapolis Freeman, the Afro-American of Baltimore, the Washington Tribune, the Chicago Defender, the New York Age, the Voice of the Negro, the Women's World, the North American Review and the Norfolk Journal and Guide. She also contributed to the Washington Evening Star and the Washington Post. Terrell aligned the African American Women's Club movement with the broader struggle of black women and black people for equality. In 1892, she was elected as the first woman president of the prominent Washington, D.C. black debate organization Bethel Literary and Historical Society through family connections and social networking. Terrell met many influential black activists of her day, including Booker T. Washington, director of the influential Tuskegee Institute in Alabama. At the age of 17, when she was enrolled at Oberlin, her father introduced her to activist Frederick Douglass at President James Garfield's inaugural gala. She became especially close with Douglass and worked with him on several civil rights campaigns. One of these campaigns includes a petition both Terrell and Douglass signed, in 1893, in hopes of a hearing of statement regarding lawless cases where black individuals in certain states were not receiving due process of law. Shortly after her marriage to Robert Terrell, she considered retiring from activism to focus on family life. Douglass, making the case that her talent was too immense to go unused, persuaded her to stay in public life. In 1904, Terrell was invited to speak at the International Congress of Women, held in Berlin, Germany. She was the only black woman at the conference. She received an enthusiastic ovation when she honored the host nation by delivering her address in German. She delivered the speech in French, and concluded with the English version. In 1909, Terrell was one of two black women, journalist Ida B. Wells Barnett was the other, invited to sign the call, and to attend the first organizational meeting of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, becoming a founding member. In 1913–14, she helped organize the Delta Sigma Theta sorority. She helped write its oath and became an honorary member. In World War I, Terrell was involved with the War Camp Community Service, which supported recreation for servicemen. Later it aided in issues related to the demobilization of black servicemen. Terrell was a delegate to the International Peace Conference after the end of the war. While in England, she stayed with H. G. Wells and his wife at their invitation.